How to lead effectively when receiving pushback from employees on assigned work. Has it ever happened to you that you need an employee to help you with an urgent task and they say they are too busy? They keep pushing back on work that they must perform and you think they shouldn't be that overwhelmed or busy with what they already have. This is common in many workplaces. It is more frequent than ever with movements like quiet quitting. In this video, we will learn 5 highly effective strategies and steps to manage these situations. Hi, I am Ruth Valverde and I have held leadership roles in the corporate world for more than 8 years. I have effectively managed tough situations and underperforming employees and help other leaders do the same. Let's jump into this together. The first strategy is understand your employees' needs and wants. As managers, we must have career development conversations with our people. It keeps us connected and aligned with what they want. It allows us to understand their aspirations and how to help them achieve them. It makes your people feel valued and cared for. Thus, they are more loyal and productive. One of the things I love the most about career development conversations is that they are a great tool to get to know our people, their aspirations and ambitions, their motivations, their character and work ethic. Let's review a fictional example. I once had an employee, Sarah, who was ambitious and hardworking. Her desire was status and money. She wanted to climb the ladder so desperately to prove herself to the organization. So she started to improve her duties. She truly wanted to be the best in her craft. She issued thoughtful recommendations and had a great attitude. She was eager to get promoted. Helping her get to the next level was easy because she truly wanted it. All the projects she handled were done with excellence, giving her the exposure and recognition needed for the promotion. Then I had another employee, Stacy, who was not interested in climbing the ladder. She wanted to work at her own pace, valuing time and low stress. Her priority was personal and family time. Her level of quality was reasonable. Not excellent, but it was good enough, and it matched her priorities. And lastly, I had an employee, Paul, who wanted to grow his career but was not enjoying his duties. He did not like his current role, leading to multiple errors and late deliveries. During our career development conversations, he mentioned wanting a job in a different department, completely opposites from what we did. His desire was to work in a job he loved. These conversations gave me insights to help them achieve their goals with the opportunities the company had, with coaching and tailored feedback, while understanding what I could get from them based on their motivations. Strategy number 2 is to understand employee workloads, strengths, and personal lives. You must deeply analyze their workload and strengths to validate if there is a skill gap you must help them cover with training and coaching. We must understand what is taking their time that they cannot take on new tasks. Talk with them and understand where the bottleneck is so you can help them resolve it. Maybe too many meetings they shouldn't attend, or resource issues stopping them from moving faster. Both of these things have solutions, but they may also be going through unique life moments requiring your patience and support. Talk with them with kindness, respect, and an open mind. Understand how they are distributing their time and help them solve any issues, from lack of training, low quality tools, to wrong work task priorities. To continue with my example, when I analyzed the workload of each employee, I found different results. Sarah was the high performer, doing twice as much as Stacy. Stacy was an average performer, and Paul was a poor performer. To simplify my point, Sarah delivered 10 analyses in a week. Stacy delivered 5 and Paul delivered 2. Sarah delivered twice as much with better quality. Stacy was good, not a stellar, and Paul was dragging the team's performance down. Their performance results match their aspirations and desires. Paul's strengths were not useful because he disliked the job. Sarah's strengths were perfect for the job, combining talent with motivation, and Stacy's strengths were a good fit, but she wanted a more balanced routine. Also, subscribe to this channel to become the best version of a leader you can be by learning together about tons of amazing leadership strategies. The strategy number 3 is teach them how to better organize themselves by ranking work priorities. Once you understand the root cause of their pushback, suggest solutions and offer coaching. Provide the right level of accountability. Create clear expectations and timelines to implement the solutions discussed and ask them to report back once the fix is done by the agreed date. In my example, as Sarah's motivation was to get promoted, my coaching efforts were directed on having more impact in her recommendation so she could have the right exposure and projects. Stacy's feedback and coaching sessions were adjusted to show her my appreciation, to ensure and guide her for her to continue to deliver enough results to do a good job without sacrificing her priorities. And then Paul required a different coaching. Despite walking him through time management, handling issues, and giving him more training and my time to help him resolve, the problem persisted. So I had to start planning a different approach. To simplify this point, I'm giving you a very unique example, but some employees do improve after coaching and guidance. And that's the reason why understanding them at a deeper level is so important. The root cause may be at the motivation you can fix. The fourth strategy is a potential workload redistribution. If resolving the issue takes more time that you can afford, consider a temporal or permanent workload redistribution. Workload redistribution can address strengths mismatches and help maintain the team productivity. This does not mean that you will give more work to the top performer, but you will adjust the work based on each team member's strengths. Don't be afraid to adjust workloads as needed, especially if someone is going through a difficult personal time. But ensure you are addressing the root cause fast to avoid team burnout and demotivation. And always build a supportive team culture to cover for each other during tough times. This, of course, cannot be sustained forever if the workloads are not evenly distributed. So make sure to use this very carefully. The ideal scenario is when you redistribute work based on each employee's strengths to ensure that you're maximizing your team's productivity without overloading key people. Another important note, if the person is not performing due to mental health issues, you cannot just alleviate their workload. You have to redirect them to your company's resources, such as the office doctor, psychologist, or mental wellness tools. Leaders and managers should learn about psychology and human behavior 100%. But we are not mental health doctors. Do not reduce workload without proper medical indication. Strategy 5, assess employee potential and guide them. Use frameworks like 9-box grid to assess performance and potential. The 9-box grid consists in a 3x3 matrix where the x-axis represents performance and the y-axis represents potential. Each axis is divided by 3 categories: low, medium, and high. So you position your employee based on performance and potential. Low performance means that they consistently underperform and fail to meet expectations. Medium performance means that they meet expectations and perform adequately. High performance means that they exceed expectations and consistently delivers high performance. And then we have low potential. That means limited potential for growth and development. Then we have medium potential, which means moderate potential for taking on greater responsibilities. And then we have high potential, which means capable of taking on significantly more responsibilities. If after all the research and steps we have discussed, you conclude the person is not right for the role, help them plan an exit route. Document expectations, communicate their bad performance and failed milestones and goals for the period your HR department requires, typically from 3 to 12 months, depending on your country and company's policy. If the employee never recovers, then it's time to part ways. Or you can follow this alternative, which I love. You can document everything, same as before, expectations, performance results, strengths, and create a plan with them tailored to their strengths to help them land a job, ideally within the company where their skills are a great match. Not every time we can do it, but It's a strategy I have always used and it's very effective. In the fictional story that we created for this video, Paul was not a fit for the role he had with me. He didn't like it and his strengths were not there. His 9-box grade evaluation was not good, but I knew him well and I knew the things he was great at, which were opposite from what we needed him to have in that particular role that I had. For example, in the role he had with me, he needed to embrace ambiguity and think big picture and strategy. However, he was great at detail, well-defined tasks and reporting. So we found the perfect role for him in the company that matched his aspirations and strengths. In that role on the other team, he became the best performer. Just because an employee is not performing in a team, that does not mean that they cannot be a rock star in another team. So let's recap the strategies that we can do when we have an employee that is pushing back when we give them more work or an urgent task and they're constantly saying, no, I can't. The first one is understand your employees' needs and wants. You must have career development conversations to get to know them better. Understand employee workloads, strengths, and personal lives. There may be something going on. Coach them to organize better. Then consider workload redistribution as a potential, permanent, or temporal solution. And then assess the employee potential and guide them to see what alternatives you have. Share with me in the comments your experiences with these type of dynamics when an employee is pushing back on assigned work. See you around. Bye.